What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And this one I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the overall markets. Please note that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Mumu link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total, not to mention a 0.1% APY on invested cash. The offer ends in just about 10 days. Anyways, now let's talk about the market. So, as far as SPY is going so far, I just wanted to say that we were anticipating a bit of a dip. And I did say this in my morning video today. I said that we would most likely see a bit of a dip and then possibly a bounce afterwards as we get very close to the end of the day. I did not expect us to dip this far, though. I was thinking we would dip to about 587 to 588 and try to see a rebound. Instead, we went even lower than what we expected before we started to see some buyers defend. So the question remains, what's going to happen from this point on? This is going to be very dependent on Nvidia. So Nvidia has its earnings coming out. It's going to be a sink or swim moment for the bull market. Most likely, yes, I agree with that. And we'll be watching to see what they end up announcing. Once again, it's going to be after market close for today. There's not really much data coming out, so I don't think the market's going to react to that. And the reason why the market sold off the way it is for many reasons. There are some tensions going on involving Ukraine and Russia, but I don't think that's the main thing. I think that what's happening is we're approaching the end of the year and we're starting to see a rotation from many of these hedge funds. They're taking some profits ahead of Nvidia's earnings and they're starting to reposition. It's also very possible that they're selling off while trying to reposition and look at their balance sheets. And then they're also going to be essentially buying the dips like crazy because they're getting us ready for a big run for the end of the year. Now, could the run start with Nvidia's earnings? It's possible, or it may not be that, right? If we do dip lower with Nvidia's earnings, that's just going to be another buying opportunity for the end of the year. But simultaneously, this could be it, and the market could be getting ready for a very, very big run. And Nvidia could be the catalyst to start things off. I don't know for sure, though. We'll just have to wait and see. So, anyways, let's talk about SPY. What is SPY doing? It's very flat, guys. It's very sideways, I would say. Not really flat, but more like sideways. We dumped all the way down to 584, came back up to about 588, came back down to about 585, and we're just going back and forth between 585 and 588. I think SPY will continue to trade sideways. It is possible to get a bit of a push towards the very end of the day, but otherwise, I do see a lot of sideways price action perpetuating for the time being. I think that's most likely what we're going to continue to do. I also want to mention that we're doing a good job at holding our support near 585, at least thus far. So we'll see if this leads to even more downside. Will Nvidia's earnings cause us to come down to fill this gap? Will we dump back down to 580 then 577? Or do we get a big bounce and start filling the upper gap above on SPY? So if you look at, for instance, the daily time frame, on the daily, SPY is either going to be pumping after Nvidia's earnings back up to about 593, or it's about to see a rug pull all the way back down towards 576. As of right now, we're holding our 20 EMA very, very nicely on the daily time frame. So we'll see if we try to bounce off this and if we end up trying to break out higher. Otherwise, SPY just remains range bound for the day. Now, when you look at ES on the 4-hour time frame, we're also just range bound. We're stuck between these levels. We're stuck between 58.75 as our support and 59.32 as our resistance. All day, it's just been going back and forth for the last couple of days. I think we just continue to do this. So it is possible we try to push towards the end of the day, but I think for the most part, we're range bound. As far as Tesla goes, it's the same thing. We're just trading sideways. Tesla is dipping closer to about that 334 area. We got to hold that support. If not, 330 is coming. And we have to hold that entire range, 330 to 334. We have resistance to watch for at 348, and we've been stuck going back and forth for 3 straight days. I think Tesla dips a little bit more here to about 334 before it tries to bounce. It's a little bit lackluster because of the news about how one of their insiders has sold a very, very large percentage of their shares. They've sold about $35 million worth, and that's part of why Tesla's dipping. It's also because of other factors, but Nvidia is going to have a big effect on this. So I see Tesla, by the way, dipping to about 334 and then continue to trade sideways between 334 and 340 most likely. I'm not really seeing much. Nvidia has been pumping a bit for the last couple of days, but I did warn everyone to be careful at 148 to 150. My prediction was Nvidia would hit this 148 to 150 area and maybe start to shuffle a bit. Instead, we actually dipped a little bit more than expected, and now Nvidia is barely holding 144.61. That's our 20 EMA, and 143.8 is the next support below that. So I think Nvidia might dip a bit, come back up, and just trade sideways between 142 and 146. Not really doing much, and then we'll have to see what happens after that. Bitcoin's on a very, very strong uptrend. We have to see if we continue to hold our 20 EMA. We could be dipping towards the 93,000 area before it tries to bounce again. But overall, we're on a very, very nice uptrend. So I think that Bitcoin will dip a little bit more before it continues to push higher. Otherwise, it's doing a good job. For NQ, we're trading sideways just like ES. We're stuck between 20,729 and 20,550, going back and forth and back and forth. Look for a push for 20,729, and we'll see what happens after that. Otherwise, it just trades sideways. Same thing with the QQQ. We might actually be dipping closer to about 497 again if 499 fails us. And I think that we just trade sideways for now between 497 and 502. Nvidia's earnings is either going to launch this back up towards the 500s, or we're about to see a big rug pull back down towards 492. So it could go either way. Do we push to fill the upper gap or the lower gap? If you look at the daily on the QQQ, you guys can see these gaps. So the daily has this, if we break 505, we have a gap to pull back up to 508. And if we get a rug pull thanks to Nvidia, we do have a gap to pull back down to 492. So it could go either way. We'll have to see what Nvidia gives us. Otherwise, we just trade sideways between 497 and basically 500 for the majority of the day. Apple pushed a bit to about 230 only to slow down. So if we fell at 226, we're looking for a dip back down. Netflix remains more bullish, hitting 880. We were talking about 880 being tested in my previous video, just under 900. Now we're looking at some tough resistance there. We'll have to see how it reacts to Nvidia's earnings. MSTR, for those who are interested, is looking bullish. As long as we don't lose 461 and 450, we remain more bullish, and we could be looking for a test of 500 very soon. But in order for us to stay super bullish, we need to break 500 soon. So if we break 500, I will turn even more bullish. Just know it's going to be a tough resistance. If we break that, it's going to turn even more bullish. We're looking for 525 as our target. Otherwise, watch 500 is the main resistance. For the IWM, we're just range bound within this candlestick. We essentially have 231 is our resistance and 228.9 is our support. So we've been going back and forth pretty much all day, not really doing much. I think coin was bullish, but then we got this rejection after some news came out. It's not the best of news, as we saw a little bit of a shift here. This formed a divergence, so we could be dipping closer to about 290 if 300 fails us. Just keep that in mind. Amazon, it's trading flat right now between 200 and 202. I think we just continue to do that. Not really doing much. Meta hit 564, only to come back down. We were supposed to break 564 to remain bullish. Because we didn't break that, we could be dipping back down to 556. So just keep that in mind. 560 and 556 are supports. We have 412 as our support in Microsoft, and we have resistance at 419. So give this time to develop. And Google, I think Microsoft is just going to trade sideways, by the way, between that range. And then we could be looking for a breakout depending on Nvidia's earnings. And then last but not least, we have Google. It's going to be likely retesting 175 before we see another reaction. That being said, guys, I thank you all so much for listening. So please have a great day. I'll be back with one more update for the day. Until then, well, actually two more updates for the day. Until then, please have a great day and peace out.